All right. What is going on, everybody? Let me switch over here so I can actually see the chat for anybody that might end up being in here. What if don't want to hear myself? Thank you. All right. Make sure I can see the chat. Make sure that I can see myself. Make sure that I have my list open over here on my other screen. We are going to be cleaning up some lists real quick. I'm going to find a list first, actually. I did not find a list that I want to use. So we're going to find a list real quick, and we're going to get it cleaned up. I'm going to show you guys. What's up, Phil? What's up, JG? Wait, I'm confused. Why is there two JGs? Is that actually two different JGs? All right. Let's see. Got you. So as now you can see which addresses are popping up on multiple lists. Yes. And owners with more than one property. Okay. That's right. JM and JG, two separate things. My bad. Okay, so let me pull up my list real quick, and I'm gonna find a list that my VA might have an old one in here that we can go ahead and we can clean up, and we're gonna go from there. I'm doing this from the perspective of knowing that I'm not gonna have a bunch of people live, but I'll have at least 250 people that, between 250 and 350 people that see this after the fact, or more, who knows, as well as anybody else that ever asked me questions on how, you need to take care of some of these lists that your county sends you, because they are, in fact, a pain in the ass. And obviously, the main reason is for REISift. A lot of people are asking me, well, what about, this list or that list or this? How do I import that? If I just import it here, will it automatically do all this crap for me? Answer to that is no. When we say that we're sifting through data, we are sifting through data that is still good. Remember, even like, you don't want to just upload a bunch of bad data just hoping that REISift takes care of it for you. Same thing with your skip tracing, right? A lot of tax delinquent lists have a lot of duplicates in it, and there's still going to be some sort of manual backbone to get a list ready for whether it's REISift, skip tracing, whatever. And there's still going to be manual backbone with a VA or yourself or whatever inside of REISift in order to, any of the missing data or incomplete data. You're going to want to, import, the first names and last names and fix all that stuff, so that you gain back control. So what I'm going to start off with, I'm going to show you a list template that we use in our business. And that list template is how every one of our lists basically are and how they get sent out. And then from there, we're going to work on basically taking that template. I'm going to go through the process of me, grabbing that template and creating a new list with a county list into that template. What's going on? There's a few more people that just hopped on. What's going on? Say hi in the chat and say your locations and network with each other. Maybe there's two people in the same marketing here. Let me just pull up these screens real quick and we'll kind of get started. Go from there. All right. I'm also drinking some Makers and actually Fresca. Makers and like cherry Fresca at the same time. So just gonna kind of chill out here. It just like got nice and cool and chilly here in Northwest Florida. So gonna kind of just hang out here. So let's create a new folder here inside of my REISift Dropbox or drive real quick rather, called, let's just say list. Let's go ahead and hop in there. All right, so what I'm gonna do is let me download this. So I should have done this already. I do this every time. What's up, New Orleans? How would you do Mardi Gras? Mardi Gras just ended, right? All right, so just downloading this list real quick, this list template. We're gonna put it inside of another drive here. That way y'all don't have to see all my lists that I got inside my personal drive. Close that out. And then what kind of list should we do, guys? How about what kind of list should we do? Let's do let's see here. Yeah, I went to one parade with my son, otherwise I was working. Nice, very nice. I don't want to do a list that's going to be like super complicated because the basis is the same throughout. All right, this one's perfect. We're gonna do a tax delinquent list, guys. I'm gonna show you kind of the best way to approach this. Okay. Every list is going to be a little bit different. Okay, keep that in mind. Every list is going to be a little bit different. But we're going to do a tax delinquent list. Anybody in my market, go just get your own list. Okay, don't just sit here and try and copy my tax delinquent list. All right. So we're going to download this. We're going to upload it, and we're going to work on getting this converted over into a normal list template. All right. I already have the video for ListSource data, right? But this is talking about specifically kind of these niche lists, and why it's important is because ListSource data, if you were to export a ListSource list, it's already got everything broken apart for you. ListSource is doing that. In fact, ListSource, even when you export it, you can actually choose what stuff gets downloaded in their list and what doesn't. God, I hate how crappy Google Hangouts quality is. How like crummy it makes it look. My video camera and everything is so much better than what Google Hangouts is giving me. I need to just use a webinar software. All right, so let me go ahead and pull this over as well. Let me refresh this, make sure this ported over to this drive. Should have downloaded in here. What the flip? Let me go ahead and upload it again. Well, that one worked. Okay, let's try this again on this one. All right, it worked that time. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. Let's see. Pretty fast, but for LLC and company, there is not a duplicate box for first name to drag to title it. Yeah, I guess that's right, GG, but I still like the good quality, man. What do you mean? What do you mean, Juan? Hopefully I say that right, Juan. JM. Pretty fast, but for LLC and company, there's no duplicate box for first name and to drag the title to. So, I don't know what you mean there. So so the title box, that's a bad name for it. We're going to be renaming that company/trust/filter box or something. Basically, that's the box that you'll import. Even if you have first name and last names, that's the box you want to map to in order to filter out any trusts or companies. If most trusts and companies aren't going to have a first and last name, so it's still going to put it over into that company side. And then later on, you'll go in there, search the company name in your division of corporations and add a first name and last name in there. Or are you saying that your list that you have doesn't have a first and last name column? It just has companies or something? Elaborate on that a little bit for me. If not, if we go on IG Live, I can bring you on. You can actually ask me questions there. If I was on an actual webinar software, I could do it here. But let's go ahead and start sharing my screen. And let's get into this, guys. I want to show you guys kind of what's up. Remember, if you're just coming in, say where you're from, say what's up, and introduce yourself. Let's get this going. Let me share my screen. Boom. I also need to like get my beard trimmed. My beard looks so bad. It's like half growing like on one side, half not growing on the other, but I don't care. All right, so you guys should see my screen now. What we're gonna do is what it looks like whenever you import a CSV file. It gives kind of this here, but once I click into this, you'll notice it turns it into a Google Sheet. I recommend using Google Sheet because you get tools and stuff you can use. Unless you know Visual Basics and you can do some coding in inside of regular Excel, I like Google Sheets. Sometimes it can get a little bit bottlenecked as things start going. Like if I'm live right now and doing everything, Google Sheets kind of argues a little bit, but more or less, it's all good. It works out just fine. This should have colors. I don't know why there's not any coloring on here. The sheet lost its colors, which is super weird. How this should look, it should look like this. Yeah, so it should look like this. I pull these two different colors. Just copy this over. I don't know why it's not giving me the colors, but I like the colors. It lets me differentiate. Kind of pull these out a little bit, grab this whole thing, pull it out. All right, so this is your general, this is just your general, list, right? You need a first name, you need a last name, you need a mailing address, mailing city, mailing state, zip, and then you need property address, property city, property state, property of zip, okay? What we're also gonna do here is we're gonna add another one here called numbers, because you'll also have that most likely. And then in the very first column here, you could add it, or what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add it here as far as the list template. And this is gonna be full name, or sometimes I'll just put it under the notes column. It just really depends on your own workflow, but let's just go ahead and call this company trust full, because that's really what you're doing. Company names, full names, trust, they all kind of get thrown in this same column here, okay? So now that that's done, that's kind of our base template, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna grab this, and we're just gonna copy this over just for simplicity. And now we're gonna go into our tax delinquent list. We're gonna open that up into Google Sheets. Let that kind of go for a second. Which box do we need to drag into the title, since most lists have LLC's complete name? So most lists actually don't. Most lists that are given to you by the city, okay, any custom list, right? Any list that you're not buying, they consider the full name as a company, right? So this is that's why this video is being made right now, okay? Because you're gonna have to have some manual stuff as of right now to get that list ready for upload. Because the smaller those lists are usually a lot smaller. So if it was a ListSource list or another list that was being bought, it's gonna import no problem. As you've seen, like the videos, you just map it out, and in ListSource they call it a label name, right? And label names have everything, all the LLCs and trusts under label names, but they don't put it in first name and last name. But owners have first name, last name. So the label name on a ListSource list is what you would import in. On a regular list, however, you're going to end up using, you're going to end up having to create a new column and do that separately. Like what I'm about to show you here, for example, this is, golly, stop. This is a tax delinquent list. So let's go ahead and look through this real quick. I'm going to go through basically, this is going to be kind of specific to a tax delinquent list just because we have one here. But just know some of this stuff you won't do, some of it you will do. For example, let's talk about tax year, okay? Tax year, you notice that I have 2009 in here. We don't care about 2009. So right from the beginning, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new sheet here, and we're just going to create a 2016 sheet, all right? Because we only care about 2016 right now. It's 2019. 2018 taxes aren't due yet. So we need 2017 would be 2 years delinquent, and 2016 would be, it would be 1 year delinquent. 2016 would be 2 years delinquent. So that's what we care about. We need 2 years. So if it's delinquent in 2019, then it's still delinquent. Which if it's on here, that means it's been delinquent since 2009. It means it's still delinquent because it's on this list. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna just grab this column here, and we're gonna use the filters tab up here. Create a filter, and we're gonna scroll up to the top here because I'm at the very bottom. I think we're gonna scroll up to the very top, or we can just grab this whole thing, turn off filters real quick, and turn back on filters. And we're just gonna select the filter box here. We're gonna clear that, and we're only gonna grab 2016. That's all we care about. And click OK. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab this whole list as it sits now. We're gonna scroll all the way down to the bottom. Notice this is all 2016, and this is going to help get rid of a lot of that duplicate data for us. I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom, hold Shift, go ahead and click all that, do Command C or Copy C, or whatever you're using, or right click Copy. And we're going to come over here in this first column. We're going to Control V to paste that in there. It's going to paste all that data in here. It's going to take a second. All right, so now we're good. So notice now we only have 2016, and we're only dealing with those records. So, so for me, 1,000 records. My tax delinquent list is much smaller than the rest of you guys. You guys with your 80,000 tax delinquents, 60,000 tax delinquents that, some of you guys have been sending me, freaking Armani, and a couple of other guys. Like, I feel bad for you guys. Oh gosh, my IG just went crazy. I feel bad for you guys. This is a lot of data. But what we're going to do right from the bat, now we're going to add another list here because I forgot to copy over here. We're going to grab this here as well. We're going to copy that. Go back to 2000 sheet 2 here. Paste that in real quick. All right. And we're going to call this clean, which is fine. You guys can name whatever you want to name it. That's what I'm doing, okay? So we have 2016. You might not, if this is a code enforcement list or whatever, you guys might not have to do this whole filtered by 2016 thing. Now that I have that done, I'm just going to go ahead and delete this row, okay? Don't care about it. Don't care about this account type. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. I'm going to keep the account number, and right from the very beginning here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to copy that. I'm just going to go ahead and paste that in my clean one here. I'm just going to actually make a whole nother one, call it account number. Just because I know this is a tax delinquent list, and that could become handy for some quick reference later on, okay? Now we'll go back to 2016. We're going to go ahead and delete that out of there for us, so we don't have to worry about it. All right, so certified owner's name we have, and then we have billing address, situs, and then the bounce amount. I don't really care about bounce amount because I already know they're delinquent since 2016. I could care less if it's $1 or $1,500, but I know they're delinquent since 2016, so I'm going to give them a call. So I really don't care about this. Whenever we're cold calling or we're doing any of that stuff, we're calling them anyway. We're researching that property, so I just delete it out. You guys do what you want. Unpaid, this is an unpaid list. Everybody should be unpaid. I'm going to go ahead and delete that out. Now, this is where we're going to get a little specific. Go ahead and delete the rest of these out. Oh, shoot, I pasted this in here twice. So we're going to go ahead and go all the way over here and delete all that out. Don't care about any of that. All right, so as of right now, as some of the lists that you guys are going to have, whether it's tax delinquent or not, you're going to end up having a full name, a billing address, and a situs address, or a property address is what equivalent to what situs means. If I'm even pronouncing that right, I have no idea. All right. So you're going to have the obstacle that you're going to have LLCs mixed in with owners' names, okay? Notice also that this owner has 2 properties, but they're delinquent on both of them. I'm not going to delete out this guy, all right? I'm not worried about that, especially since I'm uploading it into REISift. It doesn't matter, okay? But if you were going to upload this to cold calling, maybe you would want, like if you're going to send this for skip tracing, okay, maybe you would want to go ahead and remove that so that you don't have the same person. Maybe you're not paying for that same person twice. But I'm not going to worry about it because I'm using REISift. If you really wanted to, you could select this column and you could remove any duplicate names. But the problem is then you're going to also remove the address. Okay. But I want those addresses because in REISift, it's important to me because I want to know if this guy owns 2 properties or 15 properties, because if he's delinquent on 2, maybe he's delinquent on the others. All right, so with my county and many of your other counties, you have something called a use code or some form of identifier that states what type of property that is. For example, this 100 is single family residence. So I know this is single family residence. I know that 1710, I believe, is apartment complexes, or no, that's commercial, I think, some form of commercial. 200, I think, is a townhouse, and so on. So if you have something similar to that, you're going to want to filter by that as well. If you're not, like, if, for example, if you don't give 2 craps about commercial properties, maybe you want to go ahead and filter by that use code and remove any commercial properties. How you would do that is you go ahead and filter, right? You'd clear anything that you don't care about. And let's just say 70s are commercial properties. You'd click OK, select only those records, then go ahead and right click and delete those. And it will only delete the records that are with that use code if you don't care about those. All right. I'm going to go ahead and undo that filter because I'm not really caring about that right now. I'm actually going to go ahead and copy that. What I have my VA do is she actually, if it's anything that's 100, she puts single family next to it so that I can filter by that as a criteria rather than by use code. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and delete that column just for the sake of this video, because most people aren't going to have, a tax delinquent list like this. Anything that has a period in it most commonly is going to be it's going to end up being vacant land. Okay. That's what that use code was. If I re-put that at 0 is use code is vacancy. Okay. So let me delete that again. So what I'm going to also do for the sake of this video, just for filtering purposes, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to filter this list. I'm going to remove any vacant land. All right. Sometimes, like, notice how this has a period and then Baker, that's vacancy. All right. So it's actually going to be a pain. Sometimes unknown is as well. We're just going to leave it for now just because I don't feel like dealing with it. So we're going to kind of shortcut some things just because of the fact that, I'm not going to make this the whole length of what it would be to get this thing fully clean. But we're going to cover all the basics and get you a hell of a way forward then hopefully before you got here. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at our data, and right away what we're going to say is that we care about first name, last name, middle name. All right. So we want to at least split this. All right, I'm going live now. Sorry, someone messed me on IG just taking a look at it. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and what we're going to do is we're going to copy this one time, and we're going to go ahead right away into our clean data. We're going to put this under this column here. Hold on a second. I copied the wrong one. Let me go back. We don't want the whole thing. We only want from the second record all the way down. The reason we're doing this, all right, is because we want to be able to have that in here. And this is the column that you would put underneath of your, shoot, I'm like losing my words, underneath of your title, right? Because this is how you're going to filter incorporations, owners and symbols, and so on. This is how we're going to know if it's an owner or if it's a trust or whatever. So we need that column. We want that column. All right, so we're going to keep that because we're about to destroy it on this column. All right. So now what we're going to do right away is we're going to go ahead and we're going to insert to the left. We're going to insert 2 columns. Actually, let's insert 3 just to have a buffer here. We're going to insert 3 columns. We're going to go ahead and shrink this down a little bit so that we can see. All right. So we're going to scroll back up to the top here. And what we're going to do is we're going to highlight this field. And where did all my things go? Did I click this? Okay. So highlight that whole column, including the first one. It's fine. And we're going to go to data. Hold on. I got to make sure because I haven't had to realistically do this in a while. Let's make sure we get the right one. Is it insert? Hold on. Hold on. I'm going to find it. I just got to remember which one it was under. Let's see if it's this one. Yeah, so split text to columns, and then we're going to do it by space. You could also do it by commas or dashes, but we're just going to do space, okay? So we're going to select space. Now, here, we're actually going to add one more. Let's add one more to the left. What you kind of want to do is you want to check to make sure that, like, notice how this company name has that has 3 spaces. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces on that guy. This guy has 2 spaces. So you kind of want to check to see the most amount of spaces, because if something has, let's just say, for example, 7 spaces, if you don't have 7 blank columns available, it's going to overwrite your billing address. Okay. So honestly, you could just insert a crap ton here. That's just to be safe. You can insert a bunch of them in there and then delete the columns you don't want. Okay. Because we already have the company names. We don't care about any of the company names. We're just trying to get out all of the owners from this. Okay. So what we're going to do now is highlight that, go back to data again, and split text to columns. And then we're going to select by space, and it's going to go through all of that, and boom, it just separated everything. Okay. Including, so it kept the ones here, and then it separated them down. Now, notice how if I scroll to the right, it kind of overlapped a bunch of our data. So it automatically made new columns, which we don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and Control Z real quick. I'm going to delete these out of here. Apparently they made it to where it adds new columns now. So let's go ahead and delete that. Let's try that again real quick and make sure that we don't erase over our data. Usually I use power tools, but just because I don't know if everyone has power tools, I don't know what it's doing there. That's so weird. How many columns is it making? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, because of this record here. All right, so we're going to Control Z again. It's trial and error. All right, we'll get this. We're going to Control Z again, and I'm just going to take these two. I'm going to go ahead for now, Control Z. I'm going to add a new column here, and I'm just going to put it right here. And we'll get back to that. We're just going to let it erase it, do what it does until we get these names figured out, okay? So now we're going to do data, and we're going to do split text by columns again, and we're going to go by spaces. All right, so that's done now. So we're going to end up keeping the certified. Notice how it says certified role and it erased over our names. That's fine. So we're going to call this full. You know what? Hold on a second, guys. Sorry. What we're going to do is we're actually going to use power tools for this because I don't like how it's doing it for this. So if you go to add-on or tools, shoot, this is the wrong account. Usually it's under this one. So, okay, whatever. We're going to do it together then. We're going to say get add-ons, and then we're going to search for an add-on called Power Tools. It's usually right on the very beginning. And go ahead and add that add-on. So we're kind of bouncing all over now. My apologies, guys. We're going to go ahead and click it for this account. We're going to go ahead and say allow. I just don't like how general it's doing it. I use Power Tools for like all of this stuff now. All right, so now we can highlight. If you click on add-ons, you'll see this one called Power Tools. This is like honestly the best tool in the world. Now we can highlight that column and then say split. It's going to pop up a little dialog over here on the right. This is also how you can do like check for duplicates in your list by using Power Tools. And now we're going to say by space and then just click split. And let's see how it does it, if it does a little bit better there. See how it looks like. All right, so that one does it a bit better. And the reason I wanted to do it that way is because I want to see the first names, like Jordan's Pizza. You see, I want to make sure that I still have this column in here because basically it's kind of crappy, but what you're going to end up doing is you're going to go through your list and you're going to want to remove any of the LLCs from here. So I know you're saying like, oh my gosh, that would be crazy. How am I going to do that? How am I going to do that with individually? Well, that's the power of filtering, right? So now we're going to select this, make sure we have the filter criteria on here. Now, since we've already split it, we're going to select this column here, and we're actually going to filter we're actually going to filter by condition, and it's kind of time consuming, but if text contains LLC, it's going to filter it, and we're going to select all those, right click, and we're going to delete. And then we're going to unfilter. Okay, so now that's gone, and you're going to pretty much do that for incorporations and everything. It's a really time-consuming thing, but it's pretty nice. Another way to go ahead and do that is to go ahead and filter by it, right, and select each one. And there's a way you can do this with the Power Tools app as well. What's up, B Scott? There's a way you can do this as well, where you basically set up a bunch of different ones. Like if it contains, you can't do it right from this screen. You got to actually set up a format. But you'll click if the text contains, and then you'll select multiple of them, and then not select those ones. So for example, let's go ahead and clear this. What if we just go through and we only select the names, right? It's kind of a pain from here though, doing it like that. If it's a name, you could select it. And if you have a crap ton of records, it's going to take a long time, right? So so there's some more tactical ways that you can go about doing that. But for now, you can just go ahead and just grab it, go ahead and click the filter. And if text contains ink, we're going to go ahead and select, scroll all the way down, shift, right click, and delete rows. And now we're going to have that. So here's another thing that you want to do, that you could do here as well, because here's something one of you might have caught on with so far is, well, if we delete the inks and the heirs and the corporations and all that stuff out of here, and then we copy all those and we paste it back in here, it's not going to line up here, right? And that is 100% a valid thing. That's a valid, you're not wrong, right? So one thing that you could do instead of deleting them out, it's going to depend if you're doing this for skip tracing and so on. Like it's going to just depend what you're doing this for. If you need to have this, like if you're uploading to REISift, you kind of want this row. If you're doing it for skip tracing, then it doesn't matter. Okay. But if you need to have that, if you're going to have, something that it needs to be mapped out, technically you could just leave these inside of here and just and then just copy them all over all at one time. I've already copied them over here, so now I have to worry about making sure that record 2 matches up with this account number and this. But I've already deleted, I've already deleted some data. So what you could do instead is if I were to go ahead and filter by this again, and then let's choose services instead. Filter by text contains. Actually, let's do trust. Let's see if there's any trust in here. Filter by trust. Instead of deleting them all, I could hold shift and then I could just right click those and I could hide all of these rows. I should be able to. I don't know why it says unhide there when I haven't hit anything yet, but we can go ahead and hide those rows. Now we'll do the unfilter again, and it's going to remove those from me seeing it right now. And then once I am finished with taking care of everybody's names, I can go ahead and then unhide those. That way everything lines up. No, you can't, Juan. You cannot do that because it's looking, it would specifically look for that exact row. You can do that if you were to create like a data table that it would be looking through, which you can do. That's like really advanced Google Sheets stuff, and you're getting into a little bit of programming at that point. What if someone created an LLC for rentals? I would still review them. They could be tired landlord. 100%, Troy. So yeah, 100%. That's why. So the reason we're deleting them out The only reason we're deleting or hiding them from this 2016 is because we don't want them. We've already got them here. We're already going to have their property address and everything. You'd be better to hide them, okay? You'd be better to hide them, not delete them from there. I'm just deleting them because it depends on what you're doing with this. You can either delete them or you can hide them depending on if you're trying to map them up with LLCs or whatever. What we do also is we just separate them by list. So we'll just, instead of deleting them 100%, we'll copy them over to another sheet or something like that. It just really depends on what you're doing with this. This video is kind of like a catch-all video. So you're going to want to adapt it to whatever your kind of business model is like. But for now, what I'll do from here on out is I'll just go ahead and hide them, just to kind of show you guys how that would work. But you could also delete them as another option. The reason someone would do one or the other just depends on what their plan is with the data afterwards. So we're going to go ahead and filter again. I'm just going to remove some of these other ones that I'm seeing here real quick, like services. So basically, what you would want to end up doing is, like, you would want to record that you doing this once, right? On whatever list that might be really unique to your area. And then you just use that video and you just give it to your VA, and then they'll just do this for you. You know, you're only going to be doing this like once or twice a year, you know, on some of these big lists. Some of these other ones, yeah, you know, you might be doing it weekly or something like that. But most of the time, if it's a list that's coming from anywhere that you're buying weekly, you know, the data is already going to come nicely. It's the county data that comes really crappy generally. Let's go ahead and do services and see what comes up there. Looks like we got some of those. Let's go ahead and select those and click hide rows. Then we can just do, let's do church. Nothing there. LTP maybe, nothing there. LLP. I have a whole thing of filter criteria. In my other video for the ListSource, I have a cheat sheet with every sort of filter criteria that I've ever ran across that you would want to go through and hide and get out. That way you eliminate all the companies from there, okay? All right, so for now, we're just going to say that's good. We're going to close that. So you're going to go through and you're going to do all that. Now we see, so we might want to do errors if you really want to. I'm going to keep errors. I don't care about that. But now that that's done, what we're going to care about next is we only care about the first name, right? I don't really care about, hold on, let me hide this row. And let me hide this row and this row and this row. So you can go down through and just kind of skim through it as well after you're done. Notice, like, I'm down to, like, after eliminating my companies, I'm really like down to barely any data. I don't care about co-owners. All right, so now that that's all done, what I want to do now is I care about really these two. These are the only two I care about. This is last name. This is first name. And this is middle initial. But we don't care about middle initials, and we don't care about any of the rest of these. So we're just going to go ahead and right-click all that and delete. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to copy this first name column. What we would end up doing, first of all, is we would unhide. We would unhide all the other stuff. So what we want to do is we want to take all of these, and we would want to highlight these. Okay. So here, let me see if it'll work for me real quick. Sometimes I have trouble with this. So we're gonna color all these. Let's just do red. Okay. Now we're gonna unhide all of our data. See, it's kind of grabbing it still. So hold on. It's kind of a pain if you're doing the hiding, because if you're doing hiding, it's still there. So if you were to color it like I just did, it's still gonna end up coloring the other ones. But you want to be able to you technically, I'm kind of skipping through some stuff. You technically, before you hid that the trust and all that stuff, you want to like hide those. You want to go ahead and turn those rows a different color. That way, when you unhide them again, they're lit up, so you can go through and delete the last names from there. Okay, so shoot. For example, this would, because let me just do it by this real quick. Let me do LTD. I'm gonna do this by an example. I shouldn't be jumping around on you guys. It's kind of confusing, I know, but all right. So let me just do it by text contains and then service. All right, so now that I have those, it's gonna, if it contains service, it's gonna contain services. So you kind of want to be vigilant of that. So I'm gonna go ahead and color these ones red. Okay, now I'm gonna hide them. Dang it. Now I'm gonna hide them. I'm gonna unclick it. Now they're gone. Okay, but now that I only have first name and last name, also notice, so the LTD, let me go ahead and color those as well. And then I'm gonna hide those. All right, I think we have back to just having owners. All right, so now we're back to just having owners. So now that I just have owners now, remember, because I want to paste this data back over to clean data to align with these company names, so I have the LLCs and stuff still mapped out with the proper addresses. What I need to do is I have to unlink these now, and I have to remove the last name and first names of that, because remember when I selected this column in order to break apart first name and last name, it also broke apart all the companies. So what we're going to do is we're going to unhide everything now, and because I highlighted those before I hid them, we're going to be able to see that. Oh my gosh. Apparently I had accidentally hid a bunch of information, but we're still good because those were all trusts. We're still good there. There should be one more that's hidden. Oh no, they're right here. LTDs. Okay, so now that I know these are companies, I'm gonna go ahead and highlight all that thread, and I'm just gonna click delete. Okay, tracking on that. So now, and this is also a company. We know that, right? I had already deleted LLCs from here, guys, and I also deleted something else, incorporations and LLCs. So this data is not gonna match up when I copy it over. But now what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna take my first name column from the very beginning to the very bottom. I'm gonna copy that. I'm gonna go over my clean data. I'm gonna paste that in first name, and boom, all these are matched up now. Okay, so those rows, they're not really, because remember I deleted LLCs. Technically, all this red should be down right here. It should be like down here. But remember, I accidentally deleted out LLCs and inks instead of just hiding them, because I wasn't thinking that I had to map up the data again. But some of you are going to have to do it this way, so I want to make sure we cover that. So is there anybody that doesn't understand what I just did just now? By making sure you color it before you hide it, that way you can delete out the names, because you don't have the names, and it would just end up being just random data. So if you don't understand that, please comment so maybe I can re-show it or whatever. But now that that's done, what you're going to end up doing is, now that you have your first name, let's go ahead and grab our last name real quick. I know this isn't going to 100% match up, guys, but once you go back and do this, it will be. So that would be blank, but now we need mailing address and we need property addresses, okay? So what we're going to do, and if I hadn't have deleted, LLCs and stuff, it'd be really quick to redo all that, but I don't feel like on a live video going back and redoing all that. What we're going to do is we're going to grab sheet number 3 real quick, and we're re-grabbing these billing addresses. We're going to let's do billing address first. We can actually do them from here. No, we can't, because it's got this first column. Oh yeah, we can. So we're just going to do it from here. Let's go ahead and select this row, okay? And we're just going to do Add-ons again. Now, here's one thing to remember is that let me show you a good example here. This one right here. If I open this up, notice how this says co-owner. Those are going to be problems for you because it's saying that the billing address is a co-owner. So you're going to end up having to manually go through and catch that and just remove that person out of there. Notice it says John Catan as PR, so it's personal representative. So you would want to swap John's name with the first name and last name, and this is the mailing address because that's the personal representative for probate. Another thing that you're going to notice that's about to happen is because we're splitting on spaces right now, we're about to have it where every single one is separated. The benefit to this is that it's really easy to combine data into rows, and I'll show you that in a second. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select this row, and then I'm going to go to add-ons again, power tools, and we're going to split. We're going to split by spaces again. But it becomes really kind of a nuisance too, because you're going to end up having it different where the cities aren't going to be matching up, and you got to try and like it really is not fun. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, like it's not fun. It's easier if the list comes with a comma. If there's some lists will come like 410 Commons Drive, comma, unit 1016, comma, and it's super easy. What we can do for now to make this even easier is, if you notice, there is a comma on every single one that is at least after this, the city, but sometimes it's after like management here. So you're really going to have to know your data. All right. But we're going to copy this one here. We're going to do it by just space to show you guys. By space, it's going to go through and it's going to literally break apart everything into spaces. All right. Now what we have to do is we got to select everything. We got to align it to the left. That way we're good there. All right. So we'll close this again. And everywhere that there was a space, now there is another one. So we're going to scroll to the right, and we're going to find where it lines up to where Destin and our cities are. And you're going to notice that in some places, it still has, not the city, right? You got management, it's got Destin, it's got Walton over here. It's for Fort Walton. Like, it's going to be kind of all over the place, but you're going to be able to combine the data, and basically you just got to recombine it, and then you got to break it apart again, recombine it, and break it apart again. For now, what we're going to do, just for an explanation, this is like, this list that I chose was not an easy list to do because of this reason, because the data is not very great. But once you do it once and you record it and show a VA, because your tax delinquent list is always going to be the same from your city. So once you do it once, you're good to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight the first three, because the first three is most commonly, going to be your property address. Usually it's usually you're only going to have one house number and then a street and then maybe something else, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and copy all those. And then you're going to go to add-ons again, power tools, and you're going to do merge and combine. It's going to merge and combine all of those. If we choose it over to the left, merge values, skip any empty cells. We're going to unselect that. And we're going to do to the left cell, click merge, and it's going to grab all those and it's going to put them all under this one row. So you see what just happened? It ended up adding a comma, a hyphen between all those. I should have selected with a space here. But you see what just happened? So now what you can do is you can kind of just, let me just redo that. Merge it all again. It's going to merge all those together. We're just basically trying to recreate this address again, but separated. So we can see that this is 10,004 Highway 98 West Miramar Beach. So we know that we need to get up to west. All right, so Highway 98 is already there. So all that data is there. So we're going to keep that there, and we're just going to kind of scroll to the right here. But notice that knocked out a bunch of them. Like this is done, and this is, so we don't have to worry about these anymore because those are already streets. PO boxes are all done. Industrial Park, Drive, those are all done, because most commonly, remember, you have three things inside your cities. It's when you have like a west or something else that's going to be the issue. But you can keep that in its own column and then remove it later. But we already know that we can at least delete this row and this row. Go ahead and delete that out. Now you're going to have all your unit numbers, but some of them are going to be like, this doesn't have a unit number. It has the city. All right. So what you're going to do here, this is important. What you're going to do here now is you're going to go ahead and combine these together, because more often than not, it's going to be easier to go ahead and split a city out, because you can filter by those cities, because there's going to be a lot less cities than not. So you're going to go ahead and combine these two together and do add-ons, power tools, merge and combine. And then we're going to do the same exact thing again. We're going to merge values. We're going to left by space. I'm going to click merge. It's going to merge those together. And now we're going to go ahead and delete this one. And now you're going to have the same issue here, where now you have like, you're going to have like this, it's going to, instead of being the city, now this is where city should have been. So this should be mailing address, and this should be city, and then this should be state, and then zip. It does help by pushing those all out. So basically what we're doing now is we're going to have to look at it, and now we're just looking at to see how close we are with our addresses, okay? Highway 98, so we're good there. Miramar, Beach. Now we got to combine these two together. Like I said, this is a process. All right, so we're going to merge these two now. But after we start merging them, it becomes easier now that we have the bulk of it broken apart. Now we can focus on separating out kind of the little stuff. So we go to add-ons, power tools, merge and combine again. Merge values, merge. Because we know this is supposed to be the city, I know what state I'm in, right? So if I know what state I'm in, I can go ahead now that that's merged. I can go ahead and delete this one out. And what I'll end up doing is, because I know this is supposed to be city, what I'll do is I'll end up filtering this by, I'll end up filtering it and remove Florida from it. Okay, and I'll cut, and then I'll merge that out. So now what we'll end up doing is we'll go ahead and combine these two, merge these together. What we can really do is kind of merge all three of these together. You're going to see, like, it's literally trial and error and figuring out how it works. No one list is going to be exactly the same, but the main thing from this video is just understanding the power tools, tool, and kind of the process of combining everything together. Now we're going to go ahead and remove these. Delete those columns. And now let's see what we got here. So now we're looking at it. We see that we have zip codes here. This is good. This has a suite that should really be over here. We have city here. So now what we're going to end up doing is selecting each of these. We're going to go ahead and filter now. And we're going to filter, and we're going to kind of look at our different filters here, see what we have. Mailing address is going to be a pain because mailing address has tons of different ones. But the good thing is that most of them have a comma. But it's easy enough. Most of us know, our states, and we can just look through to kind of get a good idea. But we also know Fort Walton Beach, Florida's over here. This is where really it starts becoming kind of a pain to start taking care of. And so in really filtering out any destins from in here, any FTs from here. At this point, I'm not going to go through and do all this, right? Because it just takes forever. But at this point, this is when you're going to have to start scrolling through your data and splitting off anything that has anything that you don't want on there. And then there's going to be some manual stuff of copying it over. Once you have your base here, you know it's in your mailing address, know it's your mailing state, city, your zip. You've got it relatively split apart. You've done a bulk of that work by doing the merging by 3 columns and everything else. Now we could split this now if we wanted to go ahead and split this one time and split off the zip codes. But you should really focus on getting these first 2 columns right and then work on getting the next ones and move across. And the exact same thing will be done with mailing address. And once you got them right, you're just going to literally copy that mailing address, paste it under your mailing address, copy all the cities, paste it on your cities. Mailing address is a pain, but property address is easy because property address is uniform. It's only going to be Florida, right? It's only going to be, it's only going to be in, like for me, inside of Florida, but there's some people that have properties out of town. Like this is Oklahoma, right? So that's kind of an issue as well. You're going to end up having some of that. What we could do real quick, because anything that does have a comma after it is going to end up having a state afterwards. So if we wanted to eliminate that, we could go ahead and we could do a split by comma. And that would clean up some stuff that we could do. And then really it's going to be going through and copying and pasting over. So let's do a split by comma. And that's going to pull out quite a bit of the, I don't know why it just copied it again. So we can go ahead and delete this one. Oh crap, oh, we need that one. This one we don't need. So anyone that did have a comma with a state, that just did a bulk of those. Now what we might want to do is we might want to split by space again. I said I wasn't going to do this, but I want to do it for some reason. Let's go ahead and split again. We'll do another one by space, which will allow us to get and combine a couple more things into one. You can even do multiple of these. So you can do space with a comma and break both of them apart. So that would only be the ones with a space and a comma. So we're going to split that now. And then we would end up deleting this one. And now we see that we have suites again, posts. So at this point, what you could end up doing is you want to kind of maybe go down. Oh, something happened to my daughter. And see if there's anything that is really easy to take care of to get some states over here. Most of them are all zip codes. It looks like we got a city here. We got a city here. See, we got a bunch of states over here still. Okay, so now what we can go ahead and do is we can clear and just go through and select all of the cities. or the states rather, I'm sorry, not cities. So literally A, B, C. Sometimes I literally just go A, B, C, D all the way through the alphabet. C, D. That might be Delaware, or that could be something else. D, E, F for Florida. G, H, I, Iowa, Indiana. So we incorporation skip through. J, K, L, M, N, O, P. We're gonna not do that because that could be literally Rhode, not Rhode Island. Or actually, Rhode Island doesn't have one. Never mind. Or yeah, it does. I'm done. R S. Okay. All right. So now that we're only dealing with these ones, we can see all the addresses that have. It's a bit more cleaned up now that we're only filtered by that. So you can now at this point go ahead and select these ones if you wanted to split that off to get rid of the double zip codes. And then you're able to see also kind of which ones have the city still here, right? So you can go ahead and copy those and combine those in to here. I don't know why that's even over there. So NE must mean Northeast instead of Nebraska. So we can go ahead and, cut that or copy that rather, paste that in there. Actually, we can paste another one in here. And we're just kind of doing some manual stuff, deleting it through Tennessee, Texas, Delaware, Georgia, Alabama. All that looks good. We're going to go ahead and combine these two. I'm only going to have to do one at a time. It's really, guys, really kind of a pain. It's such a pain to go through and manually do these. We're going to put that one there, and then we're going to put that one there. Then we're going to go ahead and delete these two. Then that should be good. We'll leave that there for now. Why? I don't know why that record did that. Oh, because that's their mailing address. I don't understand why this would be here. I don't know why what DE would be. Okay, so now go ahead and undo your filter. And you can do the same exact thing for your cities that you know of and everything else, and basically start trying to separate those apart. You don't want to filter it and then separate it like with the splitter because you don't really know what's inside this side. But now that that's kind of done, what you can do if you want to do that splitting is you could end up combining all of these together again. Okay, so we just merged everything to the left. Now we can go ahead and delete these back out. Okay. Now you can kind of see where you're at. Okay, so we see Destin, Florida, and now you kind of just go through and you do the painstaking task of deleting out some of these, adding them in there, deleting out this East. And then putting it in there. I don't know what that STE means, but you're going to go through and you're going to do that. So this is a business, so we're going to go ahead and delete that out altogether. Unit 106, so we're going to put 106 in here. So you're going to end up having to kind of do this a little bit manually, go through. It's really something that you're going to want to record, like you doing it a little bit and then having your VA do the rest. Remove Boulevard from here because we just have to. There's too many variables that are in there to really effectively split it all without any sort of like weird filtering stuff going on. So PO box, this FT should not be over here. It should be here. L FT. Did I do that earlier? I might have done that earlier. FT should be over here. All right, Suite I, we're gonna remove that. Scroll through, that's apartment number. You're gonna scroll through and you're gonna kind of do that throughout everything. It's gonna suck. But once you're done that, what you're gonna do is you're gonna insert one to your left. And for the ones that have cities already, like notice this has FL and Destin's over here. You're gonna go ahead and grab cities out. Literally, my VA will go through and just manually do this. And it sucks when you start at first, but you speed up quite a bit once you start doing it, especially if you learn that, you can just press enter to get into it. Paste, I'm not worrying about that right now. Scrolling down, go back up, enter in here. I don't know what the willow means in here. I don't know what willow means, but I'm just gonna put it in there for now. So you go through. Really gonna go through doing that. And your VA, like if you have a good VA, we'll knock this out pretty quickly. If you don't have a VA, then you're gonna have to do this by yourself. That's kind of the name of the game. If you're getting paid, I don't know, $1,000 to do this, you'd probably do it without complaining. You just sit here and drink beer and yeah, scrubbing. This is the manual way to do it, guys. There is other ways to do this that if once you have a uniform list, right? Once you know what your data is going to be like, you can automate all this. But if I'm trying to show you guys when you don't know what your data is going to look like, right? And like, for example, I just did that like 3 times. I know that I can just grab this, move, boop. Okay, now I can just delete this out. Okay, so you're going to go through and you're going to go through all those, right? And it's going to be a manual thing going through, separating all those. Now, once you only have, Florida in here, once you only have a few, I'm not going to go through. I did enough of those to show you guys. I did the first, 20 records or so. I did the first 20 records or so. So now once that's done and you separate out all of those, which you could filter by, like if you want to make it easier, you could literally just click down here and you could do a filter. Okay, and you could filter by just clear everything out and just choose cities. So let's do there's a full address there. Just go through it and just choose like City Fort Walton Beach and just only do that one. Click OK, and then all you got to do is grab that, and then do it a little bit at a time. It's bulk data. And notice that this is actually Panama City. All right, so now that's done. So now we can go back in here, unselect Florida, back down, and select, I don't know, Baker or Avenue Crestview. You just kind of go through and just start fixing every one of them. It ends up cleaning up really quickly once you start doing that. Once that's all done, some of these are bothering me. It's really easy because then you just select that and then split by space, and you separate your state by your zip code, and then you delete the ones with a comma. You separate by space, and then you'll separate by hyphen for the for these ones here, and then you'll just delete out those, and you're good to go. So let's go ahead and do that as an example. It's not all going to be complete data, but let's go ahead and split this so I can show you guys add-ons, power tool add-ons, split, and then we're going to do by space. And notice there's some spaces in the front, so it's probably going to be kind of freaky, actually. It's going to do something weird. Probably going to add an extra column, maybe. Yeah, see it. It did it over here. That's because there was a space before Florida there. I'll go ahead and delete out this now. By doing what I just did, it'll make it pretty easy too to handle like your cities. Now I can just go down, Control X, Control V, and then find the ones that are just cities. Control X, Control V, Shift, Control X, Control V, Control X, Control V. You can see that it starts pulling together pretty quickly. Gosh dang it, keep doing that. You can even do it where you do 2 at a time and then just come over here and boom, it'll pop it all over. Anyway, so that's kind of how that works, right? We're just going through and copying it all over. I can literally go through here and knock that out really quickly just by Control X, Control V. Notice this one, I know because it's my market. That should be Mary over there. I'm going to put enter here, paste her in, enter. Okay, and then I can just go up. This is what your VA would be doing, right? He was going through here and doing all this. And hey, no problem, man. You're just gonna go through and do all that, and you're gonna fill out, and everything's gonna have a position and a place. And once you get done doing all that, you're gonna take your mailing address, you're gonna copy your mailing address. We're gonna pretend that this is all done. Control, copy, go over to your clean sheet, click on mailing address, and paste it in. All right. And then you're gonna do the same thing with your cities. Grab it. You're gonna go all the way down. Like some of these would be so easy just to take care of, like these records here. Control V, and grab all these. Control X. Let's see if this works. I don't know if it will. No. So you'd want to do individually, or you can merge just these cells together. Anyway, let's just grab this one here. You're going to grab your cities. And then you go over to clean data. Once that's finished, all right, and paste that in. That's supposed to be your states, my bad. Well, states, same thing as zips. And then property, like I said, property is so much easier because let's look at property real quick. Property, we know a specific state, right? We know that it's one state. The downfall is when doesn't have a property address, but it's a lot easier because you know what the state's going to be, so you don't have to worry about that column. You're literally just grabbing it and you're going to split it by 3 columns. So add on, power tools, split. You split by spaces, and then you're going to go ahead and combine what needs to be combined, and then it usually goes pretty quickly. So split by spaces real quick. I'm not going to go into this one really heavily. I feel as though I've given enough there for you guys to be able to get your list done. So now that that's done, what you're going to do is you're going to grab your first 3, and you're going to now merge those ones. Merge and combine. And you are going to end up like this one. You notice all those zip codes because this didn't have it. That's fine. You're going to do your first 3, and then you're going to see how it looks. All right. So now we can delete up to here. Yep. So now we can delete these ones. All right. So we notice this one's good now. We don't have to worry about that one. This one apparently never had any city or anything. This one, the city's not good, so the cities are bad. This one had a street address. So now this is where we end up kind of going through the same process, but it's going to be a lot quicker because if we do what we did before, remember this is property address. Oops. City, state, zip. We're going to be able to go ahead now and kind of just be pretty quick with this. You're going to go through and you're going to do that throughout everything. You're just really just getting it to where where you don't have anything inside the floor, to where you don't have anything inside the state column, okay? Oh gosh. I don't know why it keeps doing that. I keep hitting the end button. We're literally going to go through and do all that. I don't know why. Like, I enjoy, for some reason, like, I don't enjoy doing this, but God, I keep hitting the end button. It's not like the worst thing to do if you're just kind of chilling. You're gonna go through and you're just gonna do that, okay? That will go together pretty quickly. Once you get done that, it's really easy because like for all the ones I just did, I'm just gonna put FL, and then I'm just gonna grab this and I'm just gonna drag it all the way down. All right, then I just gotta remove the ones that have, you know, destined here. But how I'll end up doing that is I'll just click this one here and I'll click that. And then I'll filter by destined. Filter by destined, select all, click OK. Now what I'm going to end up doing is I'll split by these ones here. So we'll do add-ons, power tools, split. Shoot, I kind of remember how I did this before. By custom, I think. So you can do it like this. This is one way you can split by position. So you can split, like if you had like right now there's 3 on every one of these. I could select a position for it to be at within here to split it on. But I don't really like that way. I'm gonna click back down on here. I've never tried to do a custom like word. Yeah, see, it combines it all as one. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. Let's select that off. So what you're going to do here now is you're just going to do by the space again, and then you're going to end up just doing it by 2. So let's split it. I'll just show you guys this real quick, and then we'll pretty much wrap this up. So I'll split it, and now what I'll end up doing is I'll combine, just while I'm still on this filter page, okay? I'm going to combine these two. All right. Remember, this column is still important because we need that column. So we're going to merge these ones. Go ahead and merge that. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and delete all these out. Replace it with these. And that's going to do that again. But we need, because our filter just disappeared, you see? So that's kind of the downfall of doing it that way. But if I could click Control Z again, because our filter is about to disappear if we do that with the destined in here, what you can do is just go ahead and leave that space in there and then kind of add it in. But we're going to go ahead and copy. We're going to delete this one for sure. So we don't want that. We do want the destined and we do want this. So we'll go ahead and copy this over for now. kind of sucks because it ends up adding this whole new property field. But what you're going to do is, if we find it again here, if we remove this, we should end up having another one that we can, crap. I don't think that's the way that I did it before, fellas. All right, so that one didn't really work effectively. It's going to be easier for you to have your VA go through manually and just remove the destined from these. There's a way, I forget how I did it before. Maybe it was manually with regular Excel. But just go through, remove the destined. It's only going to be, depending on how many cities you use, it's not going to be really that much. So remove that one. You could do an insert here if you really wanted to. You could do an insert and you could do it all and go through that whole process. It just takes, you're just going to have to basically go through the filter like on the mailing addresses, split it, combine it, split it, combine it, split it, combine it, and so on. But until then, anytime anywhere there's not a city, you're going to have to add a city in there. And you're going to end up having some that has missing data and some that doesn't. But you're going to go through and you're going to do that. And once you get done going through and doing all that, you're going to copy the property addresses all the way down and paste it inside of your property addresses. Inside this property addresses. All right. So I think that's long enough. Like, this is super long. I don't think anyone is going to watch this whole video like ever. But that's like the process. And I know it looks like a lot, but once you like do a video recording how to do it once, you never have to do it again as an investor. Okay. Just know that you could pay somebody $10 to do it for you anytime you pull the list. All right. You just got to make it past the few hours or, day of doing it. Don't be that person that's like, well, the data didn't come how I needed it to be. And then be like, okay, well, I quit. Because look, even now, you have a ton of records that are good. And I didn't obviously go through and clean all of it up and do everything. You're going to sit here throughout the whole night, and you're going to do batches of 1,000 or so records at a time. All right. And you're going to get them done. Once you do 1,000 of them, you're going to, you know how to do it. It's just clockwork, and you're going to add the cities in here next. And then you're going to add, your states and your zip codes. And after they're all clean, of course, right now, not every single one of these are clean, but you're going to do that city. Then the state is going to be Florida throughout the whole dang thing. You're going to add Florida or whatever your state is all the way down. And then the zip code, you're going to grab the zip code, and then that's it. You just basically filter through all that and start populating the data all the way over. Make sure you have your full name over here, and then you just start pasting that data into your sheet. Okay. I think I'm going to go ahead and answer some questions. I really don't want to go through and just do this whole list because there's really no point, because my VA has already done this list in this video. Excuse me, this list. I don't even know how long we're at, but I'm sure we're well over an hour for sure. So ask me any questions if anybody does have any questions. That's how you do it. Okay, you start off with a big list that's kind of crazy like this, and you work yourself through deleting what you don't need. Make sure you're filtering down by the years that you need. Breaking it down by first getting everyone's name, right? Make sure you copy the full name, paste that into one column. Break it down like I showed you, making sure you're hiding the LLCs and the corporations and stuff. And before you hide it, make sure you change it to a different color. That way you can go back through and just filter by them again and just remove the names. Okay, remove the names from the columns, because the name is literally just going to be just splits of the name. You're just trying to get the last name and first name in here. Copy the first name and last name over into your clean data. As you can see here, this was companies that don't have any data in there. And then your VA would go through, look up the company name, and then fill in that first and last name. And then when it starts getting more complicated is your mailing addresses and stuff like that, because there's so many unknowns. Like the city right now, this Destin should be over here, you know, technically. And you can remove a bunch of commas pretty easily by just splitting on the comma and then deleting that column and then merging. And really, it's just a matter of splitting and merging, splitting and merging, splitting and merging over and over and over, and then doing some manual copy and pasting throughout records for some of that stuff that just doesn't line up right. And you know, you end up having a bunch of clean records. Like, you know, this whole block right here. That's all good data right there. You just go through and you do that. It's a pain in the butt, but you know, it's something that needs to be done. And as you do it, you'll find your rhythm. And every list is differently, so you're just gonna have to use kind of the bits and pieces that I gave you here to you know, do your list how you need it to be. Okay. So once that's all said and done, in the end, you want a list that's called a clean list, just like this one, that has first name, last name, mailing address, you know, city, state, zip, property address, city, state, zip. And this is what you'll want to send for mail or skip tracing or whatever. You'll want to send it with the first name, the last name, and all that. Now, if you're going to send this for mail or skip tracing or anything, you don't want the companies in here. After this is cleaned up, and what we were doing is we would then filter by trust again, copy all that data into a sheet that's just trust, filter out all the LLCs and all the companies, right? And make a sheet that's just companies, copy over those data. So in the end, you'd have clean, trust, companies, and missing data. That's the rows you have. Or once you get it to this point, all you'll do is you upload it into REISift. Make sure you put this under the title field or the filter field, and then it'll automatically break all that up for you by city, state, or by trust, companies, and so on. So you don't have to worry about it no more. So that's it, guys. Any questions whatsoever? I'll probably give like, I don't know, a minute or so for someone to ask a question. If you don't, then I'm gonna go ahead and bounce out of here and continue on with my night. Hopefully whoever rewatches this gets some value from it, even if they skip through and kind of get to the nitty gritty stuff. Download Power Tools and just get in there and start working at it. Okay. Start breaking apart your data and getting it to where it's clean. In the end, what this list looks like when it's all said and done is this. First name, last name, mailing address, property, city, state, zip. There's some hidden data in here, like so. And that's it, okay? That's it. And then businesses have their own. My VA goes through and she finds the owners to all the businesses and their mailing addresses. She populates that. And then this is all the missing data. So missing data meaning there's no mailing address or the address isn't known of the mailing address and so on. So we only focus on the people, the clean data, because that's the best data that, you know, we can spend our resources and time on. So if you got anything out of this, make sure you click the like. Tyler, you're right. Hey, man, I appreciate that, Troy, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, hit the like button, subscribe, and check out REISift. Once you get this data done, you know, like formatted like so, once you get it like this and you upload to REISift, once you know, let's just say you finish 3 lists, right? A tax lien list, a probate list, and a, I don't know, an equity list. Right, upload those REISift, and you'll see all the data that all the records that are on multiple different lists, and it'll also break it apart by trusts and companies and missing data. As long as you have this field here, it'll break it apart on all that, and hopefully that helps you guys out. You can use this, you know, this formula that I just did to do it manually, and then hire a VA and show them this. And if you do one, like a small list, right? If you just do a small segment of that and say, hey, this is what it looked like, this is what I want it to look like, and here's a video that shows you how he did it, that'll be enough. Okay, just share this with a VA, share this with someone on Fiverr, pay, you know, $50 for someone to do all, you know, 80,000 of your records or something stupid, right? And a lot of those, you know, VAs, they have some other stuff they've already got, like automated scripts to do some things and stuff like that. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys for spending the time here, you know, sitting in here and watching me kind of show you this with this interface with skip tracing. 100%. Would this interfere with skip tracing? No, like this is how you want it to be if you're skip tracing. If you're just, you don't want to send a list for skip tracing that looks like this. You will have absolutely terrible results back. You have to clean that data. You have to get this list looking like, well, this list, but really it would be looking like it finished, right? Make sure it's finished. You need to get it like this. You need to get it to where it's first name, last name, mailing address. You want at minimum, you want this data all cleaned up. You do not want to send it for skip tracing like this. If you send it for skip tracing, all of these, for example, these industries ones, you're going to pay money for them and have probably like a 15% chance of actually getting results. So you'd be spending a lot of money for no reason. All of those companies you'd be spending money for no reason. All the trusts, all the heirs of properties, all those you'd be spending money for no reason for skip tracing. You don't want to do that. What you want to do is you want to break it apart like I just showed you, get it into this clean format where you have first name, last name, and anything that is companies, right? Anything that's a company, you don't want to send those for skip tracing. You want to send just the clean data. You want to filter out companies and then have a VA look into finding that company owner's first name and last name and make sure that not the company's mailing address, but the owners of the company's mailing address, you want to swap out with this mailing address, okay? And this whole process that I just showed you, like this whole crap show, it's still like a necessity for most of it, but it's so automated to get it to this point where you break apart everything. It takes my VA, like this list that was just me working on. She'll have it done in less than a week. Once we get the list, she'll have it in this stage here. And once she gets it in this stage, we just upload it to REISift, put this as the column, and then it breaks it all apart into those companies' trusts and stuff. Then she'll go into there and manually update those records individually there. Well, that would be the plan once it's to that point. Hey, what's going on, man? Yeah, just a little bit. It's okay. You can go back and watch it. It was kind of a little bit all over the place. It's when you're doing stuff like this, it's a lot of trial and error just because of you kind of change things up as you watch how the data's working and stuff. But yeah, REISift, you will be able to skip trace from there. Once the data is all uploaded, once it's all uploaded and it's clean, skip tracing will be implemented in REISift within the next month, hopefully. No, not REI. I don't use REI skip. I'll be using REISift. Which is my web app, which will have integration in there for skip tracing because I want to be able to track what numbers have results, which numbers don't have results, and which of those are going out for mail and all that stuff. But yeah, you can, in the meanwhile, you can use REI skip. You could use batch skip tracing and need to skip. There's so many out there. Just find the one you like and use it. Just make sure that you have the data clean first, right? You want to make sure the first name and last name, mailing address, property address are all complete, and then you want to make sure that you don't send, like this one, for example, is a pizza company. I can't answer that for you, man. I haven't tried every single one of them out there, so I'm not quite sure. I appreciate that, man. Hopefully it helps out. I mean, it's a really manual thing. A lot of people don't take the time to do this task, and I promise you it's affecting your results. I promise you. A lot of people do not go and take the time to break down this data and get it cleaned, but you have to do it, right? Because your city and your county are going to send you this list like this, and they're just exporting it in the easiest way possible. It's a dumb way because if they would just export it for you in the right way, you would never have to worry about it, but they don't. So it is what it is. Yeah, 100%. You clean up all of your lists like this, and then, you know, that's the idea. That's why I built. Yeah, that's why I do my list like this. That's why I built REISift, is so that I can save money. Like I'll show you now. Like, well, I don't want to really upload this into my account because it's not 100% complete. But yeah, we'll wait on that. We'll wait on that. If this was all completed data, I would upload this. But it's not, so I'm not going to upload it and kind of add a bunch of nastiness inside my system. Yeah, and with REISift, not to put it into a promote of REISift or anything, but with REISift, what will end up happening is once you get a list, you do this, right? You get the data good to upload. Make sure you have this column here where you have the businesses here. They won't have any first and last name, but you upload this column. REISift will know that that's a business. It'll put it in the business section, and all the other clean records like this one here. That's the incorporation actually. It's just a corporation that we have the first and last name on. So that's actually good. Let's just say like this one. It'll put that under clean data. Once you send data for skip tracing, it'll come back and you'll have numbers. And then once you have a new list, you get the list up to this point, upload that list, then you just filter REISift by data without numbers, and you only send that out. That way you're not sending the same record twice for skip tracing, which is what I've done for the longest time. Every week I skip trace probate leads, and a lot of those probate leads are also equity leads. So I've already skip traced all my equity leads once before. So why would I want to spend another, however many cents, for skip tracing on that record throughout the whole year, every single week, if I already have the numbers for that person? So that's why where we're going with REISift to, that's how we have it integrated to be able to filter by that stuff. So at any rate, hopefully this was helpful. I'm just kind of rambling on. I want to go ahead and hop off here. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment below for the people in the future. I appreciate any thumbs ups, any subscriptions, and all that good stuff, so I can keep feeding you guys good content. After you get numbers, do you cold call or RVM? Both. Both. Yeah, we do both. So yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much. I'm hopping off. Feel free to hit me up on IG, Tyler Austin Original, ask me questions, and then also comment below as well, and I'll answer any questions as they come in. Like I said, do this once. Yeah, auto dialers are great. But yeah, record this, send this to your VA, have them to take care of your list for you. Hopefully this helps. Thanks so much, guys. But between this list and between this video and my other video on how to filter your ListSource data, these are absolute key. So make sure you guys are using them in your business. So, all right, guys, thanks so much. Leaving now. Mojo, there's a bunch of them, man. Mojo and tons of others. Use whichever one makes sense to you. But Mojo's good. A little bit more. I don't like Mojo so much because of how expensive it is. But all right, guys, thanks so much. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.